How's the wine?
Excellent. It's lovely. Thank you.
There's been a change in California wines lately. More pretty girls, more fashions, more girls in the vineyards and wineries to tell the story of the wholesome goodness of wine. And so the wine queen and the port and sherry twins and fashions have all become intertwined. The national wine queen is one of the most successful of all the queens on the American scene these days. Cotton may have its reigning beauty, and beer its Miss Rheingold. But California gives to the world each year an equally charming girl. The twins spent 11 minutes on the Steve Allen television show. They modeled everything from bracelets to bikinis, and everywhere they appeared, they were identified with the wines of California. Ava Gabor sat in as host for Merv on another show with sister Zsa, Eddie Albert, singer Della Reese, other Hollywood personalities, and Tony Common. We arranged a special California wine presentation for Governor Reagan and other states' governors to indicate their interest in and support of our wine during our bicentennial. The first hamper was presented in Sacramento to Governor Reagan by Harry Surlis, representing all the wine growers of California. Governor Warren Knowles of Wisconsin responded with a reciprocal gift of that state's cheeses. There is a quaint house of earlier Western days in which resides M.F.K. Fisher, author, lecturer, philosopher of food, once described by that noted critic Clifton Fadiman as the finest living gastronome author in English. For example, a quick but elegant soup can be concocted from a can of split peas, an equal amount of milk, and a can of minced clams. A half cup of dry sherry wine is added. The alcohol will evaporate, but the aroma remains to give an otherwise simple dish an exciting flavor. Sorts was set as 3 network programs discussing California wines were aired on one network, the CBS Merv Griffin Show.
Now I know what it tastes like. You look a little silly when you do it.
On this program, Hugh Johnson held a 20-minute wine tasting for Griffin's guests, Peter Ustinov, Hans Conried, Vincent Price, and Lawrence Harvey.
Everybody game?
Well, this is part of the show I like.
Why is it every time you come on, Vincent, we drink?
I like you for that.
Keep in line now. Do you drink at all, Hans?
No.
Cold milk. Try another.
The time of harvest is the climax of an entire year of preparation.
Feeling for torn sprockets or bad splices or a chunk of tape. How did I call that one? So this one's going to need a little repair. It's got just a piece of tape with an overlap of the film. We're going to have to take this apart and salvage as much of the film as we can and splice it back together. Probably it broke in a projector at one time or another, and nobody spliced it back together. If they ran that through a projector like this, that could really tear the whole film. It needed a repair that it never got.
Not directly caused by alcohol, but side effect. Not related at all. This is another aspect, and that's very important too.
I timed a lot of these films, did the film-to-film color correction, and printed a lot of them at Leo Diners 30-some years ago, so I have only myself to blame, but this one I don't think I did. Yeah. So this one is, every print's going to be a little bit different. This one has faded, color faded a fair amount, not radically. I think we'll see some that are a little more radical. Turn down the audio a little bit. No two prints are quite alike. This one has definitely moved into the red magenta area, and I can even see that on my scope, that the red is very high, much higher than the green and blue. And once again, I want to try to get those three to be pretty much equal. It's also faded a little. It's low contrast. It's too bright. So I'm going to start by just bringing down the black levels a little bit. Turn down the audio a little bit more temporarily. And I want to get this red and green and blue equal. So I'm going to bring down the dark reds and the highlight reds. And that's starting to get better. Blue needs to come down a little bit. Get a little more contrast built into it. I can put in quite a bit of dirt suppression, which will get rid of a lot of those nicks and dings. There's a kind of a before and after. Before and after. So it gets rid of a lot of those little before, after. Gets rid of a lot of those little nicks and dings and scratches. We could spend all day working on these. I think better to save the time for some films that are going to need a lot of work because they're more severely color faded. We lost our healthy pink blush right there. The blush of rosé.
And ended up as stars.
Oh, no. I mean some really useful service, like inventing the alphabet.
Well, that's been done.
Now, with your steaks, may I suggest a bottle of red wine?
What a wonderful idea.
Thank you. We're very proud of our selection of California wine. I'll bring it right away.
You know, you look like a goddess. How long will you be in town?
The example set by the parents, probably the most important factor of all. If the youngster sees his mother and father using wine or any other alcoholic beverage in moderation, safely, without viewing it as a sin or a virtue, and with all these other factors, he has built into him a constellation of protective devices, which has a history, I suppose, of at least 4,000 years as probably the best vaccine against alcoholism that the world has ever known.
But you can get California wines like that, too. You really can.
Oh, sure.
Bulk California wines are super.
Just as moving out here in New York, you
can't get
tend, no, you tend to say, oh, French wine, French this. Boy, out here you get hung up on California wines.
Yeah.
This concludes our short film excerpts chosen from over 7,000 programs aired locally during this report period, an all-time record.